This is Lovey's Barbecue. We're cooking up some Boston butts for this weekend on our Shirley Fabrication Reverse Flow Smoker. I'm going to open this up and take a look at it. Got to add some wood. It's down to around 230. I like to keep it usually around 250 to 275, but anything over 225 is good. Kind of got a little slack in there and wasn't paying attention. Here we go. These have been on since 6 o'clock this morning, 6 a.m. Starting to get a little brown. I only have 10 of them on the day, but you can take a look at them. They do have a nice look on them. Starting out just 3 hours in. I do mine a little different. I've seen some barbecue pit masters talk about not putting what they put their slather on, but I like to use mustard. Here in North Carolina, we like mustard on pork. Nothing like a biscuit with some mustard and sausage on it. This right here is our firebox. I actually have a couple of pieces of wood in there drying out. It's been raining here last couple of days, but I use my firebox when not warming food. I have some hickory on there drying out. And I'm getting ready to actually put a couple of pieces of wood on. There's the firebox. I have a couple of pieces on the side there that are drying out in preparation. So I'll put that on. And you want to make sure you have a good smoke coming out of that, so I'll stir it up here in a little bit, make sure everything's breathing correctly. But if you've never seen a reverse flow, there's a chamber there that the heat goes down, a baffle plate, and comes back up through the main chamber, and then comes out the exhaust right here. But nothing like a Shirley Fabrication cooker. And we're only 3 hours into these Boston butts, so we got quite a bit more cooking to go, but they're going to be some good eating tonight. Alright, we're about 5 hours now into the cook. We're sitting at 261. Coming out here to check on things, getting ready to put in a log in here when it hits 250. One thing to look at when you're cooking is notice at the smokestack there's nothing coming out of it. It's kind of a blue translucent, try to say that word real fast, very transparent, not a lot of black smoke or deep white smoke rolling out of that. That's when you know that your smoker's cooking right, that your firebox is right. One thing many people think when you smoke is that you got to have this big amount of smoke rolling out of it, and that's just not true. Actually, that will cause bitter barbecue or a bitter taste to your barbecue. But when you know you got your fire right is when you see that right there. Really nothing, you can see nothing. That's about as good as you can get. And your firebox is a key to cooking. There's a lot of pit guys, or they call themselves pit masters, but as you can see, this one's kind of dwindling down. I'm having a hard time speaking this morning, but it's not a bunch of rolling smoke and stuff coming out. So again, that's towards the end of it. Getting ready to add a piece of wood so a little bit more smoke will come out, but that's really what you want. That or a real small amount of smoke coming out, more of like what they call blue smoke. Let's actually take a look at the barbecue itself, the Boston butts. Oh yeah, they're starting to a little darker than last time. They look really good. And as you can see, there's 10 of them on here, as I mentioned earlier, and they look really, really good. And I'm actually going to put a little bit of apple juice spray on top of them to keep it caramelized on the top. That sugar, if you get above 275, it'll turn dark black, and again, that's something else you don't want. Some people can cook at 300, but if you put any kind of rub on it, and it's got sugar in it, it will burn. And my rub, Lovey's Carolina Love Rub, it does have some brown sugar and sugar in it, so I try to keep it 275 or below. I may have went up to 280 this morning so far just by accident, but it was not much over that. But these are really looking good. They smell great, and we'll put some apple juice on it. These Boston butts, we got 10 of them on here. Just spritzing them with some apple juice. That helps keep them moist. We're still plenty moist because the fat cap is up. But it also, to me, you try to get the sides, the top. Some people flip their Boston butts over. I try to do as little as possible of that. In fact, when I put them on, I just smoke them just the way they are the whole time. I also like to, once the internal temp gets to about 175, I've got actually two methods I kind of float back and forth on. One is I will, they call it the Texas crutch, but you can wrap them aluminum foil and then put them back on around 175, 180. I cook mine to 195. Some people go up to 200 or 205. But I like to cook mine to 195 internal temp. I've been experimenting some now with what Aaron Franklin does with Franklin Barbecue out of Texas. He does it with briskets, and I've done it with briskets, and it's really great. But I like to, I've started wrapping mine in butcher paper at around 175, and it still allows a little bit of the smoke to hit the meat, and it's not quite as good of a bark on it if you let it run the whole time. But then you have to be careful too with aluminum foil because it can be mushy. Sometimes I've even done it before. You cook it the whole time to 195 and never wrap it, and then only you take it off and wrap it at the very end. I usually double wrap it in aluminum foil and put it in a hot box for 3 or 4 hours, and then I'll tear it apart. The bottom, I'll open this back up. The bottom, I've got 3 pans. I put about an inch and a half of water in them just to keep a little moisture into the main chamber. That's, you know, some people like that, don't like it. I also use it mainly to catch the drippings, and that's actually some good stuff if it's not burnt. The drippings of that going down and mixing with the water, that's some good good juice there. But again, just check it out. Thank you. 3 pieces of firewood on, and as you can see, a little bit of white smoke is coming out, but it's not a deep black smoke rolling out. So that actually is pretty good. It shows that your fire is breathing. You don't want a rolling black smoke rolling out of it, or even a deep dark white going into gray and black. Again, I put 3 pieces on there of hickory, and you see a little bit coming out the top there, but it still looks pretty darn good. I'll open up the fire box and let you look here and see what I did. But you want to let it breathe. You don't just pile them all up in one pile. You know, you kind of alternate them perpendicular to one another. If you lay 2 one way, take the other 2 and put them on top of each other. That's key to a good smoke on a cooker, is your fire breathing properly. From this direction, you know, there's just a little bit of white smoke coming out, so that's a good thing. You don't want a deep, dark, black rolling smoke out. That causes it to be bitter. Just a few key things I've learned over the years, and just also reading up on it. If you want to read a great book, it's Aaron Franklin's Barbecue Manifesto. It's an awesome book. Check it out. He even has I think a chapter solely on that. As you can tell, there's nice bark on the Boston butts now. I just took one off to hit 195 internal temp. Got one here that's about 190. The rest of these are about 180, 185. We'll be putting them in some wrap as well, and finish them off till they hit 195 on the internal temp. and we'll put them in the Cambro hot box, and they'll be ready to pull in about 3 or 4 hours.